Hello and welcome to HGMI Switzerland. Today we have a different subject. We talk about food and food taste. Taste is a very big subject, okay, because everybody have a taste, and that may be different because different cultural background, different areas of the world, different foods, and so on. What means taste? We make tasty food. Alright, so we talk about this one a little bit today. So what makes taste taste? And that developed actually for many thousands of years. Since ever we came into existence as a human, Homo sapiens, we need to eat. And now also we want taste more than anything else. Prehistory, about 250,000 years ago, give or take a few more, we started to develop, and then we need to have food. So we go out in the jungle, in the forest, and collect food, kill some animals, and eat the raw food. But notice that a lot of people then died from food poisoning, from diseases, from everywhere. And then about 60,000 years ago, we started to learn how to make fire, how to control fire. And that's when actually I think the first barbecue started, about 60,000 years ago. Pretty much a long time, right? So we started to cook food, to grill food, to roast it. First of all, it was a nice taste, and we noticed that as a human, the more I cook the food, if I really cook the food, I will stay healthy, I will stay fit longer, less chance of food poisoning. That time we didn't know anything about the bacteria and all of that. But overall, food was safer to eat. So more and more the cooking started. And then about 8,000 years ago, we even started to make agriculture. That means we turned from hunter-gatherers. Hunter, we need to go out in the jungle and hunt for the food or look for it. We started to build farms. So now we started to grow our own vegetables. We started to grow wheat. We started farms, raising animals, cows and chickens and so for food, agriculture. And then 3,000 years ago, just 3,000, the invention of writing. Before that, all information was told by parents, by the grandparents to the younger generation, and they passed it on to the younger generation and so on. But now with writing, we could document things. We could write things down, information, and pass that on even to other people we don't know actually. They just could get this information by reading the stone slabs or whatever, papyrus rolls the Egyptians used and so on. And even recipes we could write down actually. I think there's about 2,000 years ago they started to write recipes. Then became the medieval age. So that's 400 to 1,000 years ago. Like Christopher Columbus, he went to look for India and he ended up in the West Indies in South America, right? And he brought with them on the way back, he brought many things from those countries. And actually, what he brought, for instance, was potatoes, tomatoes, chilies, but nice things also like vanilla and chocolate. All these things actually came from South America. And then he brought it and we found it interesting and tasty, so we started also to grow here. Now if you know Italian food is pasta and the tomato sauce, pizza, thin bread, tomato sauce. So Italian food without tomatoes is hardly Italian food. But again, the tomatoes originated in South America. Before that, there was no tomatoes in Europe, in the rest of the world actually. Potatoes, for instance, again, came from the Andes. That's the big mountain range there. Before that, in Europe, in the rest of the world, unknown. But with Columbus and other discoverers, they brought it with them to us. We liked it and started to grow these things. And there's a nice story actually, for instance, the potato. Now the potato, like the tomato, the plant is part of the nightshade family. Okay, that means the plants, the leaves, are actually poisonous. You should not eat that. Okay, and that's why also the potatoes, when they're green, you should not eat. Tomatoes, when they're green, you should not eat, because they contain a chemical, and that can give you certain food poisoning. If it's big quantities, it may even kill you. Okay, so the people were not keen on the potato thing, because the leaves is poisonous, so the fruit, the vegetables must be also poisoning. But one, and that's a true story, one king in Germany, he realized this potato thing, that could feed a lot of people. And it will grow easily, it doesn't need much attention, it grows underground, so you just plant and you wait for the potatoes to grow, you dig them up, and you have a very good food. But the people, danger, poison. So what he did is, and again, I mentioned this is a true story, it's a Prussian king. He planted one field with these potatoes. And then, very smart, he had his top soldiers, his personal bodyguards, guarding this field of potatoes. So, all the people see this, they say, oh, must be something good. If the king puts his own guards on this field, there must be highly valuable, there must be very good, this potato thing. Let's do that also. So they also started to grow potatoes. And that's how potatoes now become very popular in Europe, for instance. In Germany, without potatoes, there's no German cuisine. Okay? So you can see how food traveled over the years. And back to Italy, the pasta, the noodles actually is invented by the Chinese 3,000 years before that. They were doing already the noodles, the noodle dishes. Then Marco Polo, he spent a couple of years in China. It is said that he brought the recipes, and then he started to introduce also the pasta dishes to Italy. And then industrialization came just 200 years ago. So that means now we can have the food when it's in season, we can put it in jars, we can put it into cans, keep it long time. If you have money and you have electricity, you can freeze it even. Alright? So now we have more food. And then recently, about 50, 60 years ago, transportation. Airplanes going all over the world. Ships, trains, we have fantastic transport. So now food from all parts of the world can come to any part of the world. Actually, if you go right now, we're in October, so summer is over. So you go to any supermarkets, you will find fresh strawberries. They come maybe from the US or from Australia. Fresh blueberries coming from Peru. Fresh asparagus, Peru. Oranges from Israel. Dates from the Middle East. A certain kiwi from New Zealand, from other places. So food is available and plenty. In any country, most countries, you will see supermarkets stocked with food. And that's also the change now in the last 50, 60 years. Before that, people eat to fill the stomach, to stay nourished, to stay alive. No food, you die. So the worry was only to get food, whatever food that may be. Now, today, with all the civilization, with the transportation, with our fridges, freezers, putting things in cans, we have food wherever, whatever, whenever we want. There's no problem with getting food, right? So, but now the question is, what food what I want to eat? Today I want Italian, tomorrow I want Mexican, then I want, or do I want Chinese? That is the problem. So the taste has changed from food as a basic nourishment to stay alive. Now, what would I like to have today? Very different, okay? And again here, 200,000 years before that, like I mentioned, hunters and gatherers. Eat today and survive another day. 8,000 years, civilizations. We raise cattle for the milk, for the meat, sheep, horses. Okay, we grow wheat, vegetables and fruits, everything. Because continuous availability of food means survival. You have food, you stay alive. So then we have all these foods now, and over these past 6, 7, 8,000 years, of course, certain foods grow in certain areas. For instance, rice. Rice is a staple in Asia, right? All Asian cuisine you can have with rice. And I know my wife, she's a Filipina, she can have rice for breakfast, rice for lunch, rice for dinner. Boom, no problem, every day. Me, I'm European, I'm German, I can have potatoes for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, every day. You can see the cultural history, background has an impact on our tastes. Availability and access to food. Of course, if you have lots of cheap, reasonably priced food, you will eat that more often because you can afford it. You cannot really, unless you're very rich, you cannot really afford everyday expensive food. You don't want to really. But good basic staple food can be very nice. And that's why we also, coming back to the potatoes, I can make you 20 different dishes, all with potato. Because we have potato, it's plenty, it's cheap, but I just don't want to eat boiled potatoes every day. So I make roast potatoes, I make fried potatoes, French fries, mashed potatoes with other ingredients, potato gratin, and so on. That goes for the rice and most of the seasonable, not seasonable, for the local products. Seasonability, that means when it's in season, when it's available. Usually summer period, now here we're coming October, for now it's apple season. Okay, a lot of apple trees have perfectly ripe fruit, so now is the time to make something with apples as a dessert. The Swiss even eat it with the apple macaron, with the pasta and the cheese. When you have plenty, it's good, it's fresh and it's local. It's not transported halfway across the world, it's right here. Picked maybe this morning by the farmer himself, and this afternoon or evening you have it on your plate. Fantastic. Climate, regional, again, sort of seasonal, the climate has an impact of that. But of course also religion have an impact on our food taste. What we eat, how we eat, when we eat. Certain religions, for instance to mention the Hindus, in India, for them the cow is a sacred animal, the mother of all, so they will not eat cow beef, for instance, cow meat. They will use the milk for most of their products, but they will not eat beef as such. Not Hindus I mentioned, but the Muslims and for instance the Jewish people, they do not eat pork, for instance, because in their religion this pig is considered unclean. So it's not part of their cuisine and they don't have a taste for that because they just don't eat it. Okay? And there's a few more religions which have an impact. Certain Jain, that's also again India, they don't eat any meat or any meat products, for instance milk. Vegans, for instance, okay? No animal milk, butter, eggs is not part of the diet. And again, I mentioned already transport and exchange of goods, Christopher Columbus, Marco Polo, industrialization, preservation, faster transports. Now we can have ostrich meat, pangasius, it's a famous fish from Vietnam. It's not a good fish really, to be honest, but it's cheap and it's available in most supermarkets. And now, like I mentioned, we don't have to worry about food. Okay, food is there. Okay, you need money to buy it, of course, but food is there. If you even have little money, there is food. Maybe not necessarily the food you always like, but you will have food. And in many countries for the poor people there's soup kitchens and there's what they call tables where people can get free food. So like I mentioned, so now we don't have to worry about food. Food is plenty, food is available. Now we have different reasons to eat, which are, we eat for pleasure, right? We like to eat. Sometimes when we feel upset, we have some nice food. It makes us feel good. Best one, chocolate. Chocolate is scientifically proven to enhance your mood, make you feel better. We eat for memories, right? Because when you go past some place, I smell some food, oh, that reminds me just like my mom used to do. I want to have that. Okay? Brings back memories. It brings back places. You went on vacation somewhere. You can smell some pizza. Oh, last year the holiday in Italy, we went to Torino, we had this. The food can do that to you. Okay? And we eat to show our standing in society. Because if you have money, you want to show that, right? You want to show everybody that you can afford, that you are somebody, okay? For instance, I don't know if I come to this later, water. This is a little bit pet project of mine, okay? I show you something, 1 second, I have here. There. It's not mine, okay? I don't drink water from the bottles, but here. What you see here is Evian. It's a French water. So what I buy here in this bottle is water. I can get water, particularly in Switzerland, from any tap. Okay, in any kitchen, in any restaurant, you have a tap with water. The water in this bottle and the water in the tap is 99.99% the same, H2O. But what I buy here is the label. I buy Evian, is a French company, like Perrier, San Pellegrino, it's Italian. I buy the brand. Okay? I can show everybody, see, I don't need to drink the local water. I can buy water imported from France, from Italy, from Hawaii, from Norway. Okay? It's still water in the end. H2O, same thing inside. But what I buy is social standing. Believe me, water is water. And it's also a fact that sometimes the local water, I don't know which country you're currently in, but sometimes the local water is better, healthier than this double, triple cleaned water which has nothing in it, just water. Okay? But we do that to show. In the restaurant, for instance, right? Nobody wants to have the water from the jug. They want to have a bottle there with the name on it to show. So, reasons for eating have changed. Like I said, we eat for pleasure, memories, for standing in society. But at the same time, our eating certain habits have not changed. Because we developed this over the past 15, 20,000, 30, 200,000 years, okay? Like barbecue. Fact is, you cannot go wrong with the barbecue. If you have a barbecue and you start to grill the meat and the vegetable, people will enjoy. Fact. Because again, it's in our DNA, it's ingrained in us. We love. I love barbecue. And I believe the Americans, they make the best barbecue in the world. And there's actually two things. Grilling and barbecue is two different things. Look it up. So our eating habits have not changed as fast as civilization did. Okay? So we still desire these high calorie rich foods. Because our body tells us still have a lot of high energy, carbohydrates, a lot of food, because the body will automatically store that as fat, so that next week, if there's no food available, the body can withdraw from this body fat. Okay? It's like similar if you know bears, right? They eat lots of food in the summer, so they become big and fat, and then they sleep for 3 months over the winter. And they will not die because their body takes the food back from the body fat. Our DNA still wired like that. The only thing is we don't have to worry about food. We have food today, we have tomorrow, we have next week. We continuously will to have food. So we don't need to eat so much to build up reserves for a later withdrawal, because that later withdrawal, hunger, no food available, is not coming. And that's why people get more and more overweight, basically. This is the reason. Because food is energy. So if you have food, you have a value for that, the calorie count, okay, of food, versus your calorie usage per day. And that depends, of course, on the work you do. If that is in balance, you have, for instance, 2000 calorie food in matter of food you take in, and you burn up 2000 calories a day, balance. Zero balance at the end of the day, right? Because everything you consume is burned up and continue like this. It's only if we put 3000 calories we take in with our food, and we burn up 2000 calories, 1000 calorie extra, body fat. And more and more and more and more, and there you go. So that's the difference. We're still trying to have this lot of food, because for many, many thousand years we didn't have this. Now we have. So what makes the taste? Okay? Because when you taste, there's several components to taste. Taste is not what you feel in your mouth, in your tongue. Way more to add. And I'm reading a book. It's called neurogastronomy. Okay, the science behind that is the brain is the data center, the computer. Now our nose, our eyes, our ears, our mouth, feel. This is all information measurements. They measure information and send it to the brain. And the brain puts it all together and gives you then output information. Now if you change that information, every time different output. So what senses do we have? Sight. Of course, first we look at the food, okay? Must be looking appetizing, must be looking clean and such on. Then next thing we do, we smell. Now I have a food, I have no idea what it is, I never seen this before. Before I put in my mouth, what I do, I smell at it. Yeah, smells okay. I will taste it. And then when we have the food in our mouth, how it feels, okay? Because sometimes we not immediately, oh, slimy, not nice, different information. And then when we start to chew, okay, it's nice to have a crunch, to have a sound with it. And then actually comes the taste, okay? And the taste also comes in two parts. I will go to that in a minute. So like I said, first sense is sight. Food should look appetizing, stimulating, colorful. You want to have nice, fresh, beautiful colors. The food should look clean, okay? Freshly prepared, not dry last week's macaroni or something. Should look high, shiny, freshly prepared, steaming. Because color in food will give us a lot of information. For instance, a banana. How will you know the banana is ready to eat? It's sweet, it's flavorful? By the color. If it's nice and bright, beautiful yellow, aha, it's ready to eat. If it's still green, not yet ripe, no sweetness there yet, no flavor there. It's black, then overripe, oversweet, maybe it's starting to spoil already. So the color, most foods tell us this one. And they tell us the freshness. Again, it's a beautiful, bright color, means it's fresh. If it's wrinkled, if they'll be getting brown already, like lettuces, no more freshness there. Smell, very important, okay? The smell can put you off, can make you, I need to have this one. I have no idea what it is, but it smells so good. Again, it's a key component. Again, smell, really important. In Germany, we say, for instance, if I don't like a person, we say, I can't smell this guy. Meaning, I don't like him. Okay? Smell. And that's why we put eau de toilette, we put perfumes, we put deodorant, so we smell nice. Same with the food. Food must be smelling nice. Sometimes it's difficult. Okay, I don't know if you know, for instance, in Asia, there's a fruit called durian. And that's a really, well, it depends where you're from, an awful smell. It smells like rotten eggs, actually. But it's delicious taste. Sometimes the information we get is contrasting to the actual information. It's so bad, actually, you're not allowed to take this durian fruit on any airplane. All airlines refuse because of the bad smell. But taste is quite nice. Because the smell tells us if the food is good or if it's spoiled already. It's off, it starts to build alcohol, start to ferment, it's bad, right? You can smell that, like fish and seafood, okay? And again, smell. How do you check a melon in the supermarket, okay? The stem where it's cut, you scratch a little bit, you smell, it smells sweet, it smells right, I can buy this fruit now and take it home and then eat it. Same the mangoes, especially with fruits. Take a smell, that can tell you about the state of the ripeness and so on. And I write here, 80% of taste is actually happen in our nose. Okay? When we consume food, first of all, the smell will be all over, so we smell it. Smells good. And again, 80 to 90%, if it smells good, it tastes good. Because the taste with the smell is very interlinked, they come together. So when we have the plate of food in front of us, it smells good. Then we put the food in our mouth, comes the feel. Then actually that same smell from the plate goes from the back of our mouth up into our nasal system. So you have a double impact of smell. From here, direct through the nose here, and then from the back of the mouth again. And then coming together with that part of taste I'm coming to, together, delicious. And I'm sure many of you, I think everybody would have had a common cold, right? The nose is blocked, but it's okay and you need to eat. How does the food taste? No taste. Well, actually, the taste is there. It's just you can't sense it because your nose receptor is fully blocked. It's on the day off or something. So the food tastes bland. But again, there you can see now the difference between taste and smell. Even if you put the food in your mouth, it's missing the spices, the herbs, certain cooking methods. You will not sense, only the nose. Then when you put your food in your mouth, also two things which is very important, texture and temperature. For instance, French fries or potato chips, crisp called in England, right? Now I'll give you two balls of potato chips. One is crispy crunchy, just salted potato. Now here I have another ball, same potato chips, but soft and soggy. Now which one you think will taste better? It's made with the same potato, fried with the same oil in the same amount of time, they have the same quantity of salt, so they are the same, except for the texture. So, soft and soggy, it doesn't just feel right. So, I don't like the taste. Again, the taste is the same, but texture is different. For instance, the mouthfeel, okay? How it feels in our mouth. Is it slimy? Is it crispy? Is it crunchy? Again, the temperature, the texture we have, and that's the reason why people actually like popcorn, why people like potato chips, tortilla chips. One thing, because when we buy them, crispy crunchy, so it's nice texture, and they make a sound. When you eat crunch, 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 this is actually when your teeth telling your brain you're eating something. That's why popcorn, you know, when you go to the movies, you can add this much big popcorn. You can continue without feeling full. You can just munch away on this one. Same with the potato chips, okay? And Pringles, I don't know if you know this brand Pringles, their slogans, once you start, you cannot stop because of the sound. And temperature, that's another big impact on our taste. If you try, look at Coca-Cola, right? If you look at any Coca-Cola commercial, what do you see? You see this big glass of ice, full of ice cubes, and they put the Coca-Cola on top and then enjoy. That means Coca-Cola should be drunken ice cold. And it tastes nice when it's ice cold. But try Coca-Cola, let it keep outside or make it a little bit warm in the microwave or something, okay? And then drink warm Coca-Cola. Awful taste. It's way too sweet. But it's the same Coca-Cola. We did not add any sugar to that. But the temperature is the difference. Same with an ice cream. When you eat an ice cream and it has the perfect temperature, it's the right sweetness, the right flavors. If I freeze ice cream to like 20, 25 degrees minus, so it's super cold, you eat that, no taste. Zero taste actually. No sugar, no fruit, no flavor. Then you let that ice cream melt, warmer than a milkshake. Wow, it's too sweet. Again, too sweet. So you can see the temperature of that item has an impact on our taste, particularly sugar. The colder the item, the less sweetness we sense. It is there. It's just we can't recognize it as such. Okay? So with texture and temperature, again, has a big impact on our taste. And like I mentioned, sound, very important. Crispy, crunchy, again, that tells us freshness. Okay? And that's why we call, in Italian, when we call the vegetables, we cook al dente, to the bite. So that when you eat the vegetables, you should hear a little bit crunch, a little bit sound. Okay? If you can hear a crunchy sound while chewing, it is associated with freshness, of course. Soft and soggy means it's old, means it's overcooked, it's not fresh anymore, right? Sound. And then only is the taste. After all this experience, sight, smell, mouthfeel, texture, temperature, then is only the taste. And with our tongue, we can taste only 5 different categories. Sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami. Umami came out in the 50s. Japanese scientists found out why do people all over the world, regardless areas, regardless cultures, wherever they come, they like particular things. Why is this? What do these things have in common that so many people like this? For instance, ketchup, right? Everywhere, come from America, they brought it with them, but everywhere you get ketchup in any country in the world. People like ketchup with French fries or so. Why? And he found out there's this particular taste, and he called it umami. This is present in certain vegetables, in foods, fruits, in meats. For instance, when you roast meat, is this umami develops there. It's in tomatoes. Tomatoes make ketchup, so you have a lot of umami in the ketchup. Fish sauce for the Asian guys, fish sauce, soy sauce. It's a nice flavor because umami present. And we don't know why and how, but we like. Alright? Again, sometimes it's a bit of a train thing, but It's there. Cheeses in Switzerland have umami. And even mother's breast milk. So we get trained from birth already on, the first time we taste food, which is then the breast milk, for this umami. We like it all the time. The more, the better. And then now, again, food available everywhere. We play with the tastes. Now we can more aromas. We marinate, we infuse, we smoke, we enhance, we add more complex flavors. Because again, our taste gets very bored very quickly. So we add different cooking methods, we add different ingredients, and so on. Right? Currently, scientists who are looking into taste, also they reckon there's another thing we like in our taste, and that is fat. Because again, fat translates into energy, energy translates into survival. We love fat. And if you come to think of it, I tend to agree, because we put fat everywhere. Right? When you make a salad, you make a dressing. What do you make the dressing? Vinegar and oil. Right? On our sandwiches, what do we put? We put butter, we put margarine, we put mayonnaise. Fat. Okay? We love fried foods. Potato chips are fried. Fried chicken, fried fish. We cook in fat. Right? Meat needs to have fat. If you have a piece which has absolutely zero fat and you cook it, it will be dry and you will have a hard time chewing that one and swallowing that because it doesn't have any fat. So we love fat everywhere. Ice cream, there we have milk, we have cream, we have eggs, egg yolks, fat. We love fat. Fat is good, must say. It's just a matter of how much. That's the key point here. Some people can have more, some people can have less. That's the difference. So and then we have all this. Now we know what we need, what we play with, our sensations. Okay? Now how to create a tasty plate of food. So I have here a star method. Okay? The Swiss star. As a template, again as a basic rule for everything. What I do is I have 3 triangles and across them, and these 3 triangles touch most of the senses when it comes to eating. Therefore, eating equals taste. So, the first one, 3 basic colors. It's for the eyes, for the sight, okay? Imagine you have everything in dark chocolate, everything will look dark chocolate. But if I have a dark chocolate and I add some mango or some fresh fruit, berries with it, raspberries go very well, and then maybe some cookies or some cream, different color. 3 basic colors. Alright? 3 textures, also important. Remember, textures, sound, different things happening in our mouth. Okay? Also, I try to get 3 different textures with 3 colors. Each has their own texture and 3 different flavors. So that's the 9 things. And how to explain this one? Okay, I'll go back a little bit. Now imagine, for example, I'll give you a bowl of chocolate mousse. Swiss chocolate mousse. Best chocolate mousse in the world. But that's it. So now you eat the chocolate mousse. Oh, very nice. Chocolate mousse. Chocolate mousse. Chocolate mousse. Chocolate mousse. You get bored. After 4 or 5 spoonful, yeah, because it's same color, it's same flavor, it's same texture. But now I take the chocolate mousse, I add, like I mentioned, some fresh raspberries or some fresh fruit. Orange also goes very well with chocolate. So I have a different color, I have a different texture, a different flavor. Now I add something crispy crunchy for the sound bit, for the biting bit, like tulip, a chocolate cookie, something crispy crunchy, some caramelized nuts for instance. So now if I eat these 3 together, chocolate mousse, then fruity, something sour and sweet, and then something crispy crunchy. Now second, now I have the crunchy first, then the fruity, then the creamy chocolate, and so on. And then you want to continue eating, because every time you eat, some changes in your mouth happening, either flavor-wise or texture-wise, and so on. Then the plate will be interesting, and people will want to eat more, and they will finish that one. Again, if you give only chocolate mousse with nothing else, people halfway through they will say, no thank you, I don't want anymore. And most likely they will not order it again. That's what we want, right? We want the people to come and continue to buy our food. So here I have some samples you can see, visually attractive. Okay, the asparagus slightly grilled, so it's a little bit undercooked. It's still crunchy in the center. We have the white ball there, we have a kind of mousse with that. We have a creamy, probably hollandaise on the top, some salmon and some tuna, some fresh fish, uncooked, creamy. Again, different colors, different flavors, different textures. On the other side we have a chicken galantine with the crispy bread there, a small pumpernickel ball there, some nice garden greens, microgreens. Again, green is a good color for plates, for decoration. Because when you think of green and food, green means nature, green means fresh, green means healthy. So by adding some little bit lettuces, or for desserts we add some kiwi or some fresh mint to it, and the orange gives a healthy aspect. It looks more interesting and looks healthier. Here an even can be very simple. Here we have a blueberry coulis, the one picture on the left. We have a chocolate bar with freeze-dried raspberries on the top, again crispy crunch, and we have a bourbon vanilla ice cream with it. 3 components, but different color, different flavor, different texture. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon. Bada bing, bada boom. Best wishes and great dishes.